design buildings. We also design parks. We design community centers, which is a type of building, I suppose. But we design landscapes, and we think about the city. And when we're thinking about the city, we're always thinking about the built environment. So our buildings are never on their own. They're never islands. They're always relating to other buildings and to other people. Really, we're trying to build a better city or a better built environment. The built environment is anything that people build, anything that people occupy. So right now we are part of the built environment. And I think you'll find that almost every day you are part of the built environment, whether you're thinking about it actively or not. In Houston, this is a very large built environment. And today we're actually going to talk about Houston and the city.
So here are a few examples of your built environment in Houston. I think what's important to note in this slide is just like us as people, there's no building that looks exactly the same. Buildings look differently, buildings are structured differently based on their purpose or the function that they serve. So for instance, looking at some, you see some homes down here, obviously a much different size than the stadium that we go watch sports games in. All buildings have different, what we call programs and functions, and they're sized differently. They all have a different role in contributing to the community.
So we're here as part of the STEM program. Those of you who attend the STEM program regularly know that this stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And as the recess program, we are thinking about architecture, but we're not thinking about architecture as something that's separate from science, technology, engineering, and math. Architecture is really fun because it's a profession. It's one profession where you get to think about science and technology, engineering, and math every day. So we aren't an expert scientist, we aren't expert engineers, but we know enough about all of these different disciplines that we can use them in our architecture to design buildings, to make sure they stand up, to think about where the lighting goes, how the air. Really, we're trying to make a better city, but also a really comfortable city.
Architects also love to think creatively, and we think thinking like an architect is really valuable in your day-to-day lives, because we as architects, we try to identify problems, propose solutions, and communicate our ideas with other people. So even if you don't see yourself becoming an architect someday, thinking, designing, and being creative and thinking like an architect can be really valuable.
So this is a picture of the Rice School of Architecture. We just quickly want to introduce some options for you as students, as people that are maybe considering either college or trade school or just thinking about the future. These are two schools in Houston that offer degrees in architecture, but also science, technology, engineering, and math, which maybe architecture is for you. If you maybe aren't as interested in STEM as a profession, there are also lots of other majors. So I think STEM offers a variety of career options, but you can also take, maybe you have two interests, you can take multiple classes with different interests. Those are close to home. These are other schools in Texas that are really close by and are all really good schools. And all these schools just really, it's an opportunity to pursue your interests and develop something that you can see yourself doing for the rest of your life.
Okay, so the first week, we just want to quickly recap on some of the previous things that we've talked about, since we see a bunch of us, since there are several new people here today. The first lesson was on structures. It was talking about how buildings stand up. And we talked about how buildings, just like our bodies, are composed of different parts and pieces. Buildings have a skeleton that help them stand up. Buildings have muscle structure to help them resist different types of forces in the environment. And as you can see, I said architects think creatively. So no one building has an exact solution. Keegan could have the same project as I do, and it looked much different. So there's just different ways of expressing yourself as architects and using those different parts and pieces to construct a whole. We talked about the two major forces that buildings have to resist, being compression and tension. And we talked about the different types of materials that architects use to resist those forces. We also talked about some of the typical strategies that you might see day to day that use those materials to hold up the building. And here is just a quick slideshow relating it to something you might know, your home, and how your home is, although it might not look like it, although you might not think of it, it's composed of different parts and pieces, and we as architects have to consider each of those parts in great detail. So
the next lesson was on communication, and we stress that there are two kinds of communication, verbal, where we speak to each other, and visual, which are signs and drawings. As architects, we sometimes get in front of you and use verbal communication to share ideas, but we find that drawings are a better way for us to share really complex ideas that we maybe can't explain all that well. You can see here, this is a sketch. We showed you that the ideas always begin with something very simple, but kind of blossom into something very
Back
complex.
to the previous slide. Yeah. So this building was sort of set into motion from that simple sketch you see on the next page. So I think that you guys can probably do, I would say, better drawings than this, arguably. But you know, every building starts with an idea, and there's different ways of expressing that idea.
So there are two types of communication. Verbal, this is us giving a version of a presentation in front of a bunch of kids who came to the School of Architecture, which maybe we might have an opportunity to do at some point. And visual, this is an old image of a bunch of architects drawing the building. But we wanted to stress also that not just architects think in terms of drawings, but also inventors think in terms of drawings. So you as young students with these amazing ideas that we might not even be able to come up with, by learning how to draw, you can learn how to express an idea and make it yours. We introduced types of drawings, showing how by drawing we can learn more about everyday objects. So by drawing the apple, we can maybe explain it in a way that we couldn't if we didn't have a photo or an apple with us. And we spoke about how architects use kind of similar strategies to explain homes or their designs. There are different types of drawings depending on what you're trying to show, and they all tell you something different about the apple or the building. Now this is going to be especially important today because we're going to be thinking about something that maybe you can't draw like this.
And then our last lesson was on space. And the point of the space lesson was that we as architects sometimes have a set square footage or a set size or shape that we have to work within, but we can get creative with those spaces. So if you look at this, this is a 100 square feet. You can think of that as a square or as like a mathematical figure, but if you begin to play with that figure, you can realize that you can really change the experience of the space by playing with those dimensions. You can make something super tall and narrow, you can make something wide and short. So thinking of the qualities that the space promotes or the way a space feels, you can do a lot with that as architects. So this is an example of a home. Maybe you want to talk about the home?
Yeah, this is an example of a home that uses a limited amount of space to do something really creative. Last time we asked all the students to design a home for senior citizens, and we showed an example instead of a home that was designed specifically for children. So this is a home with lots of surfaces to climb up, nets to lounge in, and it's a really fun space. So as architects, we're always just thinking about who is in our buildings and how we can think about their experience. So that kind of ends the recap part. This is all new content, and I want to emphasize that today is really about a conversation between us. We're going to be talking about Houston in general. As architects, as I said, we're always thinking about Houston. We're always thinking about cities in general. And really today is just about thinking about Houston as a large city. And it's something that we don't experience every day. We are isolated in our own little sections of the city, but today we're going to be looking at what makes the city, right? How can the city be better? How is it formed? And we look at the city in ways that we might not usually consider. So this is how, as I said, we look at an apple. We cut these three types of drawings, which are plan, which is where you cut through the middle of the apple, a section, which is where you cut through it this way, and then you look inside of it, and an elevation, which is where you just draw the apple. As I said, you can learn about a building kind of using the same techniques. You can draw a building, you can tell someone something about it.
So we actually, we were going to pass this around. This is actually a construction document set that Keegan helped produce at the firm he works at. So this is an example of a different type of drawing that architects do, and I'll pass this around. But you can see, this is for the building to get built. So unlike the sketch, this is a very technical set of drawings that tell the people on the site that's working how to build things, where to build them, what types of walls go where, and it utilizes a bunch of these different types of drawings to to express the details and get the building built. So maybe we'll just pass this around.
So this shows kind of how all buildings, this is a very small project that's actually inside an existing building, but it's showing how all buildings begin as a very creative idea and that we constantly add all these different levels and layers of information.
So is that a blueprint? Is that what that is?
Yes, it's blueprints, it's tables, specs, which are documents that indicate which materials should be used, calculations. So there are also plumbing and mechanical drawings in there. So it shows how architects work with all of the other disciplines to make buildings.
And I think for you guys who've maybe never seen a drawing set, it might be kind of shocking how many drawings it takes to describe even a little space. So you can see there's a lot of pages there. I've worked with construction sets that are sometimes this thick. So a lot of information that we have to be able to provide through drawing.
Right. And we bring this up because how do we go about thinking about the city? If we think about apples, well, maybe we don't always think about apples, but if we think about objects and how we might draw objects, and we think about architecture and how we might draw architecture, how, as architects and as people living in a city, do you think we can go about learning about the city? And I ask that to all three of you.
That might be.
It's a tough question. How do you look at the whole city? Because it's something that's so large that it's really hard to grasp. Yeah. You zoom out. That's a perfect answer. You zoom out. We can't draw the whole city because there's too much information, but we can draw parts and pieces of it, and we do that by looking at maps. Right? We look at maps of the city. We look at photographs, and we can learn something in every single image. Every single map, we can do something different. So this is a very simple map. This might not look like it, but this is actually the Bayou system in Houston. And this is maybe a map of what Houston looked like before people moved here. It's kind of amazing to see. I mean, this is a version of Houston. You can't really tell how large anything is, but this is a map just of Houston. If we were to fast forward to today, this is a map of Greater Houston. And I think by looking at the map, you can learn a lot about the city. Judson Community Center is right there. And I mean, you can see that Houston is kind of unique as a city, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. You all probably live somewhere in this area, which is around where we are now, but everyone all the way out here lives in Houston. By using these maps, we can isolate certain things about the city just as a way of talking about them. So today, what we really want to do is talk about the city and talk about your community, and think about where you live in the city and how maybe where you live relates to other parts of the city. If we begin to kind of like look at how the city grew even, we can learn something about it. This is housing. Houston is a very young city. And if we scroll through, we can see how homes have been constructed in Houston. So you can see that most of the homes were built up to the north. And as the city grew, it began to sprawl. Houston is a city that's actually pretty famous for its sprawl. The city kind of doesn't stop. It's a really interesting city. These are things that we can only learn by looking at the city from above, though. And then this is a map of all that information, kind of showing how the city has grown, where the oldest buildings are, which are generally at the city core, and where the newest buildings are, which are all around the edge here. Yes? These are just houses. So that there's actually, but that's a good point. What can we learn about this by maybe looking at it and knowing that it's just homes? We can learn that there's a lot of people living there, but also what you just said, we can learn a lot from that. There's nothing in the middle, right? Well, so because these are just homes, there are buildings there. This is downtown Houston. But we can learn that people don't live downtown. Right, I mean, so there aren't many homes downtown. Are there any other areas in the city where you notice that there aren't homes? By the bayou, right? So along here, we can guess that there are lots of office buildings. We can also begin to look at parks. So here is a large park. Here we can see Rice University and R.A.M.P Park because there aren't part. So by looking at maps, we can learn something new about the city every time. You guys talk about it as well.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're interested in talking about when we're thinking of the city, and kind of from zooming out, we can tell a lot of interesting things. We can tell how the city has grown. Hey man, how's it going? We can tell how the city has grown. We can see these huge ring roads that kind of encircle the city. We can learn about maybe where people work as opposed to where people live, and where parks are, and how the bayou influenced the way Houston has grown. But I think one of the things that we're really interested in is how you can kind of zoom in on different communities, and that's what really the lesson is about today. So as you see, we zoom in, we can see where we are right here. We can see that Houston is kind of broken into neighborhoods, and we think of it as a city of communities, really. One example of a community is our university, Rice University. You might not think of a college as a community, but we do because it is composed of different types of buildings. It has people living there, people study there, people play sports there. So it takes on all these different roles, and to satisfy all those different roles, you have to have different types of buildings. So you can see this is where we go to school. You can see it's surrounded by green space, the road for the cars, and other educational buildings. You can also see, as we kind of go through you see that this is a dorm, so people live here. What happens inside the building oftentimes says something about what's happening inside the building. So you can see maybe these are windows for each of the students' rooms. Unlike you guys who are in high school now or middle school maybe, you guys don't live at school, but when you go to college, you actually move to the campus. So the campus has to have a lot of different buildings other than what you guys are familiar with in high school or middle school. You can see this building looks quite a bit different. This building has classrooms. It's all glass, so maybe it's more inviting. You can see this is our rec center. So you can see that it's got some larger structural members to support larger spans where we can go in and exercise and have larger open spaces.
Yeah, I remember that was the last.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was there a basketball goal by the pool?
Yep. There.
The pool's pretty fun.
That sounds like fun.
And then this is an example of just an art piece on campus. Now, why do you think just having a piece of art or a pavilion like this would be useful on campus?
Because if we show people that, more people will come.
Yeah, I think so. This is definitely an attraction on campus. People come from outside of Rice University just to see that, definitely. Any other reasons why we might have?
To bring more people that like to make art and bring them here to Rice.
Yeah, so maybe we're trying to develop a culture of art and expression. Yeah, that's great. So that's just like another example of something you might find on campus.
Have any of you been to Rice University and spent time on campus?
No.
Okay, well, it's completely free. You just walk right in. And it's just down the street. And it's kind of just fun to walk around and see maybe what college looks like. There are tours of people through there every single day. So if you're ever interested and maybe want to look at a new part of the city, today we are looking at new parts of the city and kind of getting you to think about different buildings in the city that make a really big difference in the city. Rice has a lot of buildings that make a big difference for us, so which is why we're talking about that now.
And then this is example. This is our. This is kind of the entry to campus. So we kind of have this grand archway. We talk about different structural strategies that kind of welcomes you to campus. And then this is actually the building that we go to school in. You see, we all are sitting in here, so we have the nice big windows for a lot of natural light.
So I think we spoke about what makes our community, and we said that Houston is a city of our community. But we haven't really talked yet about what makes your community. So right now what we're hoping we can do is have you, by drawing, sketch or draw what makes your community. Starting with your home, just what makes your community. And we are going to let you be creative and draw in anything that you think makes your community. And there's no right answer. We want to, when we talk about your drawings afterwards, we will learn that communities aren't made by architecture, but architecture and buildings only help make communities. So communities are really about people and how people interact with each other. Excuse me?
Is it how people work together?
Yes, exactly. It's how people work together. It's how people talk. It's how people share information. So right now we're going to meet at a table here, and we're just going to sketch out some examples of your community, and then we'll come back and we can maybe share what makes your community special for you. Sound good?
Wait, so only for our discussion?
No, no,
Oh,
yeah. Whatever makes your community feel like a place.
So maybe as an example of maybe your school, you would say your school is part of your community. Maybe there's a pool you go to that's part of your community. Maybe it's a grocery store. So we want you to just kind of zoom out a little bit from where you live and consider the different parts and pieces, the different pieces of architecture or maybe parks that what do you think is part of your community?
Draw us a map of your community. Okay?
Okay.
So let's pull up some chairs to this table here.
We're gonna draw that.
Yeah.
Okay.